Manchester United players are again out in force condemning, slamming, belittling, berating the current manager of Manchester United. This may not come as a shock to some people, but it is happening again. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this latest setback, this latest act of insubordination. Do you support it? Do you understand where these players are coming from with what they've said? Or are you dead set? Is enough now of player power at Manchester United? How much more evidence do we need that these players lack respect for the manager, for the coaching staff, for the football club, for the fans? I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this, because it's another bad day for Manchester United. And the reports came from Rob Dawson early this morning that there have been some bemusement to Rangnick's leaving the bulk of the coaching sessions to his assistant. Some players on the training ground have jokingly likened the assistant manager to fictional soccer coach Ted Lasso. Now, this is an interesting and intriguing story to me, because the disrespect from Man United players to their managers has been absolutely astronomical. Absolutely astronomical in every single which way. And when you go through the body of the article, there's lots more to it. You know, much work is being done on the training pitch around in building the organization and the shape and the structure of the team to make it harder to break down and harder to beat. Now, that's making the Man United players complain. So this isn't just about a manager reminding them of a character from a comedy show. They are not happy with the overall structure. Rangnick's sessions are often based on 11v11 work rather than sort of dynamic drills they feel will help keep them in shape between games. And then the irony in that is, whoever the manager is in the past three, these players moan about it. Whether it's Ralph, whether it's Ollie, whether it is Jose Mourinho, they are out here moaning, consistently moaning. We as fans know that Ralph Rangnick and his team are better than what we had before. We believe they were better than what we had before, but yet the moaning continues. And you have to ask yourself, why? They complained of Jose Mourinho's hard ball approach in training. Then Ollie came in and he wasn't tactically good enough. There was no structure. We don't know where we're meant to be at what time. And now they're building the structure. They're moaning it isn't hardball enough. They're moaning they're not working on the dynamic stuff enough. Now, could it be that 3 times on the bounce, the managers come in and they're so one-dimensional that they don't know what they're doing? They can only work on one element of their game at a time. 5 managers running? As much as I despise the owners of this football club and they've picked poorly, are you telling me 5 managers running? By the way, 2 of them with the credentials of LVG and Jose Mourinho. The winning mentality of Jose Mourinho and LVG were one-dimensional, only working on 1 or 2 elements at a time. David Moyes doesn't have the pedigree of those 2. But look what he has done at West Ham. They're structured, they defend well, they counter, they move the ball good at times. They've got some players in their team that are ballers, they deliver. So he's able to do it, but he couldn't at Man United. Ollie came in and there were so many question marks over him. I understand people not siding with the players, and we'll get onto that in a moment, but questioning his credentials. Very inexperienced coaching team as well. By the way, Kieran McKenna's doing pretty well. I know it's League One, pretty well at Ipswich, by the way. 8 games, 6 wins for a team that was struggling before he arrived, turning that around very, very well, I will add. And Ralph Rangnick comes in, a man that we all know to be one of the best directors of football in the world, understands the game and understands what's needed. He's the interim manager. There was never going to be this big overhaul from him. He was bringing in a number of assistants and people to help him for 6 months. Who the hell do these players think they are to keep moaning? Some of the players in this current squad have achieved great things outside of Manchester United. But let's have it right. Not a single one of you, barring David De Gea and Phil Jones, have achieved anything of any real note at this football club. And in fact, in the last 9 years, none of you have. We won an FA Cup and a League Cup and a Europa League. Good, very good. Most clubs have cut their right arm off for that. not at £1.4 billion of spend, not for being one of the biggest clubs in the world. And these players are an absolute disgrace. Absolute planks. Who the hell do they think they are? Every manager they moan. And I tell you where the two biggest problems lie outside of this behavior. One, the owners do nothing. They allow this insubordination. They allow this disrespect to manifest. The leaks continue to come out of the football club. Do your investigations. Flush out these rats. Rats everywhere. I tell you why I'm angry. I'm angry because it just doesn't go. It does not rain. It pours all the damn time. And I'm sick. The second element, and I want to shout out my brother here, Neeks. Neeks and I have spoke about this for 5 years. This key stage 1, basic bitch, low-hanging fruit analysis from fans. What we've seen, predominantly in the Jose era, and then it moved into the Oli era with vengeance, with venom. I'm going to side with poor player behaviors, poor player attitude, poor player standards, as long as it gets me what I want, and that's the manager gone. I can understand why so-and-so is publicly trying to leave. I can understand why this player refused to do this. I can understand why players are tweeting disrespectful things. I can understand why they're standing up for themselves in public. Would you want to play for this manager? Would you want to work for this manager? That attitude of almost an enemy of my enemy is my friend is the mindset of a prick. It's the mindset of an idiot. It's the mindset of a fool. It's the mindset of somebody that cannot see beyond the end of their nose. Stop falling for it. Stop falling for it. Because what was said, like two of the only people, I'm not like Man United fans here, I'm talking active on social media, Neeks and I. When you empower the players to behave like this, to remove someone you dislike, it is slippery slopes. Slippery slope FC. You set the precedent. You set the standard. You set the behavior. That behavior will then manifest itself in the next coach, the next coach, the next coach, the next coach, the next coach. And if the owners are too weak to tackle it, they don't want to move on failing assets or bad signings. Remember, Oli literally stayed in his job longer than he should have done because the board and Ed Woodward didn't want to have another foul manager on their CV. They put their professional careers and CVs above the club. Mad! But this is ignored. Everybody was just focused on, Ollie's tactics aren't good enough. Ollie's tactics aren't good enough, you know what I mean? It's the tactics, it's training, it's the drill, that's it, it's all it is. That's all we heard from people every day. No, I don't know what it is. Just the manager, sack the manager. That's all you hear from everybody. Everybody. No, sacking the manager was never a guarantee to improve us unless that structure was really in place. And it isn't. And the structure embodies everything. Philosophy, transfers, culture. And when I say culture, I'm talking the attitude of players, what is and is not acceptable. The manager could be running bad drills. You leaking this information to the press to slam the manager and to protect yourselves is unacceptable, irrespective. Unacceptable, irrespective. Doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong, the behavior is still wrong. One bad behavior doesn't make up for another. This is the problem with it. Man United fans have endorsed, empowered and supported this behavior from players now for 5-6 years. And it has set it, that coupled with the way our owners operate, the rot is deep. Ralph Rangnick's coming in and he's trying to do his best job to get United into the top 4. These players are letting up. These players are making mistakes. These players are being made to work harder than they've ever been made to work before. In terms of this crop together. And they don't like it. They don't like it. Every time they get criticism, they throw the manager under the bus. And every time the fan base falls for it, hook, line, and sinker, every single time without fail. Have you not woke up and smelled the coffee yet? Can you not see beyond the end of your nose the wood through the trees? Whatever other analogy you need, can you not see it? The players are a massive problem. They are a massive problem because we endorse their bad behaviours and the owners do nothing to stop it. No manager will be successful at Manchester United with our current structure and culture. None. Point blank. Niente. Finito. Nil point. None. And I am not going to lose my energy on this. I am not going to be silenced and shut up. I will shout this until the day the structure changes. You can keep your Poches, your Ten Hags, even if you had Pep and Klopp together working. With this board and our players, they would not change it. They would not change it. You can get paid 200 grand a week for failing and working at 80% capacity. Where's the motivation to push harder? When you're in an organisation that supports mediocrity. At the elite end of the spectrum, this football club supports mediocrity. And we as fans have got to step up and do more. Yes, criticise a poor manager's decision in a game. But let's not allow managers to be continually thrown under the bus. And before anyone says it, rebuttal time. Oh, but Terry, you said Jose needed to be sacked and you said Ollie had come to the end of his tenure. Yeah, I did. Doesn't mean a manager should never be criticised or sacked. We are not living in a binary world of one thing can't exist without the other. Critical thought, grown-up conversation. Jose had to go. His attitude became toxic. There was no way to repair that. He had to leave. Ollie wasn't good enough to take us any further, irrespective of the players' behaviour or the way the club is run. That doesn't mean the players are a big problem here in terms of attitude and behaviour and that the owners aren't the biggest problem at the football club. This is not about protecting a particular manager from being criticised or sacked. It's about protecting the position of which they sit in. That no player will have more power than that person. And I'll tell you as to why it's important. And the biggest fundamental point of all of this. Because one day we will have the right manager, who will have the right coaching team, who will have the right system. But these players will throw him under the bus. They will pull the rug from under his feet. And we'll be left with egg on our face again. We have got to be stronger. We have got to be better as fans. We have got to stand up what is right. Can't get my words out, I'm so annoyed. We have got to stand up and do the right thing here, irrespective of who the coach is, irrespective of your preference or my preference. What is right for the club must